Hello, you're very welcome to another episode of The Filum Show. I'm Mike Sheridan and I'm joined as always by Deirdre Malumbi and Brian Lloyd. What's going on, gang?
Not much.
It's very warm. It's very warm today.
It's so warm.
It's roasting.
It's so warm.
I have to say, fair play to you for coming in, Brian, because you're technically not in work.
All right, yeah, okay.
But you've came in like again. But like, fair play to you for coming in to do the show. And he's like, okay, all right. What are you going to say now? Fair play for coming in. We appreciate you coming in.
Dedication.
Because the studio's super busy at the moment.
Mm-hmm.
And it's good to get it out of the way. So producer Dave there in his short shorts.
Did you know? I tell you, I was going to say he had the right idea.
Yeah.
Out of all of us, look how short them short shorts are. We can't get a picture of them, but they're very short.
A video may have gone out on the Film Show Twitter there. Of you and your shorts and Charlie, yeah.
Grand.
Dress for the weather. The deadpan Cork man is dressed for the weather.
And look, I'm like, it's like the dead of winter with the beard and this shit. Like,
I think you look great.
I know, but it's not practical for the weather. Like
Yeah.
Deirdre's in this like sunny, like sundress kind of thing.
Dress, yeah.
And
well, I was finding even skinny jeans are too hot in this weather.
Yeah.
I can't wear them, so I'm back to dresses.
Back to dresses. Huh?
Dresses.
There's not a whole lot out this week. We're going to talk Jurassic World Fallen Kingdom next week.
Mm-hmm.
You guys haven't seen it. It hasn't press screened. I have seen it because I did the junket last week.
Embargoed, though.
It's embargoed, yeah. And so we're going to talk Book Club. We're going to talk My Friend Dahmer and Ibiza, which is on Netflix. So we'll finish with Book Club. We'll talk My Friend Dahmer first, which is about a lad that eats people.
Yeah, pretty much.
Assuming.
Pretty much, yeah.
There's a coinky dink.
There's a quinky dink, yeah. Well, it's based on the early years of Jeffrey Dahmer, who was this serial killer. He killed 17 men, ate them, or not ate them, had sex with them when they were dead. Just all sorts of just awful things. But we really
started the show on a light note.
On a like beautiful summer's day, people are listening to this, and we're going to talk about this.
You start with ate them. That's too much. Had sex with them after you ate them, or what? Oh, anyway, no, it doesn't matter.
All of it was terrible.
It's grim.
But what they do, kind of interestingly, with this is it is not about him, doing all these terrible things. It's about how he came to do these terrible things. As in, it's an examination of, his early years, like about 2 weeks before graduation. But what the other interesting part
so
of
he's
this...
in Jeffrey Dahmer in high school.
Yeah, exactly that.
It's like Jeffrey Dahmer Homecoming.
Yeah. Or I was kind of thinking...
like a really messed up Marvel.
Do you know what, what this actually reminded me of...
Villain, I'm just saying.
No. But what this actually reminded me of, and this is going to sound really weird. The whole time I was watching this, I was thinking of Lady Bird. As in the fact that, right, okay, in the sense of, and I know I've kind of lost everybody now after saying that, but hear me out, okay? No. If you go back and watch Lady Bird, right, the way that it was filmed, it's kind of done at a distance, if you know that sort of way. As in, the camera is kind of set up here and everything happens out there.
There's no super close-ups.
Exactly. Whereas and they do this in the same way in My Friend Dahmer. Everything's done from kind of removed. The idea of it being a memory rather than it actually happening. It's a memory of someone's memory. Because My Friend Dahmer was based on a graphic novel that was written by this guy called John Backdorf, who actually went to school with Dahmer.
Oh, okay.
And this is his recollection of what Jeffrey Dahmer was like in school and hanging out with him and stuff like that. So it's the guy, John Backdorf, it's his memory of Jeffrey Dahmer.
So that's interesting. So you're kind of saying how it's shot. And to be reflective and be kind of retrospective. It's shown like a memory.
It's shown kind of like a memory, isn't it? It's done very there's lots of period details in it. The music is always playing in the background. It's done very much like Lady Bird. And again, I mean that in the sense of the idea of period details informing the story.
You kind of talked about that initially. It was what the
Yeah.
Saoirse Ronan's character grew up to be a serial
killer.
But not that. She grew up to be Greta Gerwig, Brian. We all know that. Yeah, Greta Gerwig is wonderful.
Yeah, and she is a delight. But no, yeah, it's a really weird film in the sense that
the opposite of a serial killer that eats people.
Yeah, in fairness. But no, it's a really weird film because the central character is this terrible, terrible human being. He's done awful, awful things. He's dead now. But at the time you're watching it and you're kind of are you supposed to feel sorry for him? And you kind of maybe not feel sorry for him, but he had a terrible life, as in he was, had an awful upbringing. His parents divorced and just completely abandoned. My
parents are divorced. I never had anyone.
They abandoned him emotionally and physically. They literally kind of left him alone in the house, and then he started drinking really heavily, and he was already kind of messed up as it was. to begin with, like, isn't he was really kind of like what's the word? Sociopathic, like, isn't like he would torture animals and stuff like this. Like,
that's all that they say. That's
that's the thing. Like, and if like if you've ever watched Mindhunter, like they go into it in Mindhunter where it's like, if you see
great
kids,
series,
It is a great series, isn't it?
if you see kids like like hurting animals or stuff like this, like that's kind of a really big red flag.
What does it go into in terms of how does it look at him? And so you're saying he obviously tortured animals. That's how he started out.
Yeah.
Is there a hint then from his friend's recollection, who obviously wrote the source material, through his memories, that Jeffrey Dahmer could have been stopped like this, and turned around as a person? Is that the hook for this?
That's the hook for this. The hook for this is that, like, you're kind of seeing all these things happen to him. Like, as in, they formed this thing called the Dahmer fan club, where he was this kind of weird kid, and this group of lads, one of them was the writer. They kind of say, look, listen, what if you... It's kind of like Jackass. It reminded me of Jackass. As in
Jackass, Ladybird.
No, as in the sense...
It's going to end up on the poster.
No. As in, like, they got this, like, Super 8 camera, and they went into a mall, and they got him to, like, fake a sort of epileptic fit, and then they tape it kind of thing, and they kind of, like, see people's reactions to it. That's sort of, like, weird stuff you do when you're in your 50s.
Okay, at what point then does he start getting...
Towards, like...
serial killery?
It's, like... It slowly builds, like, but that's just it. Like, the problem that this film has is that it really moves at this really glacial pace, and the whole time you're kind of watching, you're like, okay, I can see what you're doing. You're layering this character, you're building this story, but like, I'm not saying
it kind of drag. It almost sounds like it's saying,
it's really drags.
Like a review, cut to the chase.
Yeah, that's it. You're kind of watching. It's like, okay, when's this going to happen? When's this going to build up?
So this is it. Sorry, you go on.
Sorry, I was just going to ask the lead in this. He was a former Disney Channel star, right? Is he your one? And I might be getting I might be getting mixed up now between actors, but is he the one who signed up for the new Sabrina reboot?
Yes, he's Harvey.
Yeah,
he's
so I'm
Harvey
looking forward
in the
to
new
seeing
Sabrina.
that.
They always do that. They get this like squeaky clean, and they're like, we'll make him a serial killer, because like it's Zac Efron playing Ted Bundy.
Yeah,
exactly.
And it's like Vanessa Ann Hudgens going on to do Spring Breakers after Disney Channel. They're like, we want to get away from all that.
But it's like play a real life serial killer. It's like, I mean, and to be fair, Joe Berlinger is directing the Ted Bundy movie, and that's got a cracking cast.
That looks amazing.
So this one's got a cinematic release, but it's a selected cinemas,
very, very selected,
and it's available on streaming services as well. Yeah. So any good? You ever kind of like the problem with? It sounds fascinating, but he's obviously like a darkly fascinating man.
Yeah. I think the problem that I had to this was that it moves at a really glacial pace. The guy who plays Jeffrey Dahmer does it very, very well. But it's too slight of a film, That's right.
For the type of density you're dealing with.
The type of density, like we were talking about Zodiac last week, like, and that's the perfect example of a serial killer film. The idea of like this huge investigation and this really kind of deep, intense analysis of it. Whereas this is just sort of like, here's what he was like before he became nuts.
That's a strange choice to make as a filmmaker, to be like, oh, let's see, maybe it's like normal ones. I'm like, well, 17 people and did weird, horrible things. So. Which had a
it
ripple
almost
effect.
sounds like we need to talk about Kevin-esque. I mean, you kind of see this character through another character's eyes, and in the case of we need to talk about Kevin, it was through the mother's eyes. But like that film worked really well in relation to like its kind of episodic nature.
Yeah.
Like you're saying that this one kind of dragged, but we need to talk about Kevin was kind of a bunch of like short scenes that again you kind of see the build up and what leads to him becoming this like character that does something absolutely unthinkable.
And it worked.
Yes,
it worked in that sense.
exactly,
But maybe is there something crass about it been a real life?
Yeah, maybe.
Yeah, and like also as well, like we need to talk about Kevin. The interesting thing I found about we need to talk about Kevin was that it examined the relationship between the parent, as in like the fact that Tilda Swinton's character really hated her kid. She really hated him. Like, whereas in this, it's just sort of like, things kind of happen to Jeffrey Dahmer rather than there being any kind of examination of why it happened. It's just sort of like, that happened. Well, why did that happen? Oh, it doesn't matter.
So,
on to the next thing.
So the thinking is you kind of look at sociology of it, you go back, you kind of, and then try and prevent it going forward. But it still seems like kind of a strange choice for
it. It is. Yeah. It was a strange film.
Okay, let's move on to something completely different.
Yes.
We're going to have Book Club because that was actually the main cinema release this week. But before that, Ibiza dropped on Netflix over the weekend, and I watched it over the weekend. Gillian Jacobs is somebody who I'm a huge fan of. I've been a huge fan of since Community. This is like Vanessa Meyer, who was in Saturday Night Live. She was in Trainwreck for anybody, so people are going to look at her and go, I kind of know her from somewhere. She's a really funny actress.
I saw the trailer for this.
Yeah, I actually quite like one. What do you think of the trailer then? Tell me.
The
I saw the
trailer
trailer
was
for this last
muck.
week as well.
The
Really?
trailer was. I watched it. It was like, oh, I am never watching that.
I thought it looked like a bit of fun from the trailer.
come
but
on,
at the
like-
same time, it looked like a bit of fun, but my hopes were still low just because, honestly, I haven't seen one good Netflix original comedy.
Yeah.
I'm just going to say it.
Really?
Fair,
I
yeah.
haven't seen one good one.
Vanessa Boyer, sorry, I got her name wrong. And the other actress in it is Phoebe Robinson. And then the male lead is Richard Madden. So what I'll say is that it's a really simple, kind of silly plot where Gillian Jacobs' character works in PR and her boss calls her in. It's a typical mean boss, very similar to Trainwreck, that's just teeing off on her in quite a funny way and an obviously improvised way. Sent to Barcelona for this big meeting for some brand thing or whatever. Two mates are like, hey, just like, trade in your business class ticket. The three of us will go on the rip. And she's like, all right. And they go on the rip. And she meets this DJ played by Richard Madden, who's very Calvin Harris.
Yeah,
Scottish.
that's what made
Richard
me,
Madden, who was in Game of Thrones. I enjoyed this a lot because I was looking for something I didn't have to think about in the moment that I watched it. And it's one of those as well where you're like, I would never have paid to see this film. And I think the vast majority, I think that's the way these type of movies have gone. We spoke of this before about those mid-budget, $20-30 million films. There's very few of them just being made nowadays. But it's a fun comedy. The supporting cast are hilarious. Phoebe Robinson and Vanessa Boyer make it work. Like Vanessa Boyer, she's obviously improvising and she's so good at it. Like she could do Amy Schumer levels of, lead roles in comedy films or, Kirsten Wiig, whatever you want to say. She can definitely follow in those footsteps. Yeah. She's brilliant, even if it is a supporting role. The film doesn't make a whole lot of sense. The soundtrack is great. I like my dance music though.
I was going to say you're big into your EDM.
Well, I'm dropping pills at raves and stuff. I listen to a train and that's it really. But
all right,
the soundtrack is quite cool. Richard Madden. It's strange because you kind of expect it to go one way and it doesn't. It just kind of plays it straight down the middle. And then kind of just lets the laughs come from peripheral characters. So it's strange. It's strange seeing three American characters in this type of film with this type of soundtrack because it's like
for European.
Remember
Kevin,
Kevin and
Perry Go Large.
Go Large, and it's that kind of like soundtrack, and that you're like, you've got these American characters. One of them from a couple of American comedy series is playing. So it's a strange kind of fish out of water vibe to it as well.
As you describe it, I'm like, I can totally understand why this ended up on Netflix. It makes total sense why it's on a Netflix original.
But this is Gary Sanchez production, so this is Will Ferrell. And Adam McKay, your pal Adam McKay, who you had a great interview with him.
Oh, I met Adam McKay on the red carpet once.
Yeah. Brian and him are great pals. That was a great chat. Really enjoyed that.
I had like a half an hour long talk.
That
was really good.
Got into trouble for cursing again because he started cursing. And then Adam McKay started cursing. And then everybody was cursing.
Yeah, his publicist got really emailed me and everything. They were like, listen, can you cut out him cursing? I was like, no. But he did it.
You're so mad, Brian. You're so
anyways.
mad. It's crazy. Anyway, that was a really fun chat. People should look that up. That's on. Was that for the Insider, your old pod?
That was for the old Insider podcast.
The old Insider podcast. I love. We have to find that image and get that image for anybody who's watching this on YouTube. Brian, it's like all romantics, 80s Brian Lloyd. You've had so many looks. You've had so many looks.
You've had so many looks since I've known you.
You've had Arlene Foster. We have to find
your man from Stranger Things.
Yeah. And now, I think you look great. I think this is your look. I think this is definitely your look. I think you look great now. Okay. You got the check shirt thing going on week after week. Variations of the check shirt thing.
Please move
Variations of the check shirt thing.
Please move on.
I think you look great.
Please move
on. You can't take compliments. Can't take insults.
Can't take anything.
Good Lord. Anyway, Ibiza's worth watching. It's not going to cost you anything if you already have a Netflix account. I think you'd like it, Dee, because it's talking about girls trip and stuff, and it's just been kind of silly and frivolous and crass and funny. I enjoyed it. I thought it was worth watching. It's a solid 3-star comedy, and the soundtrack's a belter as well. Okay, let's move on to the one movie just being released in cinema.
Yeah.
Brian Lloyd's phone is on. Who's ringing you? Who's ringing you? Who's ringing you? Give me it.
Turn off.
Sorry,
genuinely sorry.
Give me the phone.
Throw it over there. Genuinely throw it over. Sorry about that.
For the second week.
I'm really sorry. It was the garage.
Second week. I have to confiscate Brian Lloyd's phone. I swear to God.
I'm really sorry. I'm really genuinely sorry. I am so genuinely sorry.
This really does sound so teacher pupil now.
Don't, Brian. Do you know what? I'm not sad. I'm disappointed.
Look,
I'm disappointed in you. And Brian, you should be disappointed in yourself.
I am disappointed. I can't believe that actually happened again. I can't
You'll
believe
have
it
to
happened
write
again.
lines next time.
Yeah, right?
And before we get into the book club, Brian, you've written a book, haven't you? Do you want to tell us about the book? Do you want to give her a plug?
I don't.
You don't want to tell us about the
I don't want to talk
book.
about that.
Give her a plug. You tweeted it. Give her a plug. So you've written a short story. You've written a fictional short story. What's it about?
It's Jesus. All right.
Look at him. He's all coy.
Anyway,
publicity. You work for big.
Yeah, I know, but like I don't. Okay, grand. All right. So I wrote a short story. It's up on Amazon. It's called Eyes Within Eyes. It's about this guy whose father has Alzheimer's, and it's set in the future. And there's now a medical procedure where he's actually able to kind of see inside his own father's memories, and when he does, he sees this entire double life that his father led that he knew nothing about.
Deadly. How long is it?
That's short. Like it's only like 35 pages.
35
I'm very
pages.
embarrassed about
Why
this.
are you
I just
embarrassed
thought I
about
did
it?
like it's separate. Like it was separate. Like
It's a separate thing. That's your other life. That's your other personality.
yeah. Well, like yeah.
So what's it called again? And we'll get it up on.
It's called Eyes Within Eyes.
And it's available on Kindle, and people go on to
I'm going
Amazon.
to write it down.
Eyes Within Eyes.
Okay.
Deadly.
Yeah.
Fair play to you,
Thank
Brian.
you.
It's not an easy thing to do to bang out 35 pages, given the volume of stories that you write as well.
I know,
for the
yeah,
site and the screenings and all that. So it's well
Well, I have no
Fair
social
play.
life to speak of whatsoever. So like, you know, I
the thing is-
literally do nothing but work. So
But
like,
doesn't this kind of show you that even when you're not working, you make yourself
oh no, God,
work?
yeah, completely. Like literally, do you want to know about it? Today is my day off, right? And already I've written 2 more short stories, cleaned the entire house, booked me car in for a service. That was the mechanics that were ringing.
Do you want to
there.
get that if it rings again?
I'm just
Dave?
saying. And now I
very
came in
busy.
here to do the podcast. I literally can't stop myself from work.
What's wrong with you?
I have a real serious problem with work. Like I can't. Like I'm a workaholic. Like
But this isn't work. This is a good time.
I know that, but I'm just saying. Like it's just yeah. Anyways,
Dee, let's
I really
talk
was
about.
not expecting any of this.
No, well, we'll give you an old plug,
Thank
Brian.
you, fair
We're mad with a self-plugging, as Dee pointed out last week.
yes, yes, yes.
That was really
I
embarrassing.
always saw for the clip for the trailer that we use. I'm like, this is dead. We got to use one. You know, this would be great. To use one of Dee kind of having a crack, and I was like, I don't think we can put self-plugging.
No.
in the clip.
Probably not.
think we get
Although
into
I saw
trouble.
you took some screenshots.
I
for
did and put them up on
Instagram, yeah.
Instagram. In fairness, like
Yeah.
it was
But,
very.
yeah.
Having the lols. Okay, book club, Dee.
Yes.
Tell us what it's about. I know you weren't a fan.
It's basically Al one's reading 50 Shades of Grey. There's not much else to it. It has an incredibly talented cast. I'm just going to reel them all off here. Jane Fonda, Mary Steenburgen, Candice Bergen, Diane Keaton, Don Johnson, Andy Garcia, Wallace Shawn and Richard Dreyfuss. So it's a really, really amazing cast. That is so... What?
My phone's gone
Oh,
off
it
again.
actually is.
I'm really sorry. Go ahead, keep going.
But
Brian, okay, from now on, sorry, Deirdre, you're going to leave your phone outside.
Yes.
People listening at home, watching on public transport, wherever they are, do not want to hear your bleeding phone ringing.
I'm really sorry.
Just turn it off. Deirdre, continue, please. Thank you.
can I continue?
yes,
Can I?
sorry.
Candice Bergen,
I'm
Don
really
Johnson,
sorry.
Andy Garcia. Who you were thirsty for when you came back.
Oh my gosh, yes.
Andy Garcia.
Yeah.
Yeah?
In this movie, yeah. Yeah.
Actually, have you seen the cover of Men's Health this month, Dee?
Is he on the cover?
No. Have you seen the cover of Men's Health
No,
this
is
month?
it Michael B. Jordan?
Yeah. Do you want to, can get Charlotte to grab that cover? Anyway, go on, talk on there.
Yeah,
Dee.
I'll
I'm just
keep
gonna
going
find
on
this for you.
anyway. So, yeah, it's just like girls getting giddy and reading a book, and there are shots of them going, "Oh my," and stuff like this, and they're making sense.
Speaking of oh my. What's your favorite? Oh, she's not into it. What?
He's
not into
he's
it.
almost too buff there. I don't want him to eat me alive, you know.
All right, Deirdre.
Crush
Yeah.
me.
Okay. Yeah. Sure.
I'd go in for a hug, and he'd crush me.
I was expecting your action to be does he need to be tweeting about social issues? Does he need to be
His head looks too small for his body there.
In fairness, I will
That's
say that.
photoshopped.
That
Come
does
on.
look very photoshopped.
Yeah.
That
It
does
looks
look very
photoshopped.
I
photoshopped.
like au natural.
I think he looks great. What do you think, producer Dave?
Doesn't it? Yeah.
Photoshopped,
Well, I
yeah.
think you look great, Michael B. Jordan, if you're listening.
Good
So-
definition on the arms as well. I give him that. Like,
Yeah, I'm sure.
Yeah.
Do you think that top's too tight though?
oh, it is. Yeah.
Yeah, weird. Just kind of thing for tight tops. You looked at what I was wearing there for a second. Did you see that, Mister? Look how many buns have you got open
I've
there
got two
now?
down. I've got two
down.
down. It's warm.
I'm sensing the level of disinterest with the book club. So
Yeah.
outside of Andy Garcia,
I mean, it's just so conventional and pointless and dumb and kind of, even like I found myself like maybe less than a handful of times laughing, but it was almost just to like pass the time. And because the standard of the jokes in the film was so atrocious that occasionally there was a joke that I would laugh at just because it was funnier compared to the other crappy jokes. So yeah, it's just kind of, and even for like more mature audiences who this film is clearly aimed for, it's like, can you not give them something better? And with a cast like that, that's so talented and naturally charming and likable, it's just such a waste of everyone's time.
Who do you think Meryl Streep passed on this?
Oh, I'd say she got offered it.
She 100% got offered this. Jane Fonda, Diane Keaton, Candice Bergen, Mary Steenburgen, who's awesome, I love her, Andy Garcia, Don Johnson, Craig T. Nelson, coach. So that's an incredible cast.
Yeah.
So
and I mean,
and Alicia Silverstone as well. It seems like they've just wasted them all, haven't they?
Yeah, they really have. And I mean, like there's like, it's just so like utterly like conventional and kind of like old school with regards to everyone kind of being nicely like set up at the end. And even like Jane Fonda's character, I was really disappointed at, because she's this hotel chain owner that this guy from the past, who's played by Don Johnson, like comes back to her, and she has this thing about how she like just sleeps with guys, but then when she meets him, it's like, oh no, I'm in love now, I'm gonna go off with him. And it's like, no, be strong, Jane Fonda, don't need a man.
To be fair, Don Johnson, I mean,
but they didn't even have any chemistry. It just, everything about it just felt so
How can you not have chemistry with Don Johnson?
I'm just telling you, they didn't.
Fair enough. So
it just felt forced.
It just
you know
felt
what
forced.
I mean?
Okay,
yeah.
so they're reading 50 Shades of Grey. That's the whole thing. So where did the laughs come from?
Is it there from their reactions from reading
Oh,
50 Shades of Grey?
Yeah, and
Because
then
like, how old is that? Like, I mean,
and then like Mary Steenburgen's character is like trying to get her husband, who is played by Craig T. Nelson, like back into bed. So that leads to some
He was
interesting
also
things.
her husband in The Proposal
Oh well, there you go.
with Ryan Reynolds and Sandra Bullock.
oh yeah.
Yeah.
You think like
They really thought outside the box with this one, didn't they? But
You think
like,
though, like,
Really
I mean,
creative decisions here, guys.
But like, she's married to Ted Danson. You don't think they just like wheeled Ted Danson out for this? Like,
wheeled Ted Danson over.
no, it's in like okay,
like
but,
Hannibal Lecter. Like,
but you know what I mean? Like, as in like the fact that they're married, they could just like go to get to the set together. Just like, okay, well now we'll do this.
But
scene
some
together.
couples don't like working together like
That's
that.
fair
you
point,
know what
yeah.
I mean?
That's
Because
true.
like it's kind of different to like, you know, you're making their relationship work. Like
I know
it
that,
is work
but-
then.
Yeah.
I know you would do it because like you love work.
No, but like I mean, my girlfriend.
you've got a problem.
I do have a problem, but no, I don't know. Like it just seems like it seems like the kind of film that should have been made about 3 years ago.
Yeah,
You know, like-
Yeah, it does feel very out of its
like it
time.
would make,
yeah.
but it's doing quite well at the box office in America.
Yeah.
Those kind of films aimed at the older audiences.
Yeah.
I know you're
Yeah.
going to get into the box office later on for your news, Dee, but those kind of films.
Well, that's the thing. There is like an audience there, you know, and kind of older women will go to these films like with their girlfriends and stuff, and like it's grand, you know. It's just it made me really feel like a glass of wine afterwards, because those women drink so much wine over the course of the film. Like they would put the Sex and the City girls to shame with the amount of wine.
Well, it's like when
they
you're
managed to
when you
drink.
get older though, like you're able
Did not
to
drink
like,
Manhattans in Sex and the City.
Yeah.
And Samantha.
no, but like it's in like
Forget Sarah Marshall.
when you get
I love that bit.
when you get older.
Sorry, forgot to
No,
think of nonsensical.
I
More
didn't
nonsensical
know
than usual
until
this
I
week.
saw it on someone's Twitter feed, by the way, that she's walking in the background
What?
during when he says that line.
Is she?
It's I don't think
Kim
it's
Cattrall?
Samantha. I think it's that's not that's Miranda.
Yeah.
But yeah, she's walking in the background when they say that line. I swear, go back and watch it, or else somebody photoshopped it.
We'll do.
But I think that
Forget
it's an
Sarah
actual
Marshall as a
thing.
revisit. I
Yeah.
think as well. I
Yeah.
love that film. It's
Yeah,
aged
it's
really
good
well
crack, yeah.
too. So yeah, Dee, it's crap.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's just I don't know why they made it.
I have to say, my mum had no interest in something like this. None at all. She wants
Really?
to see Tully. She really wants to see
Tully's
Tully.
great.
She's
Yeah.
watching The Last Kingdom at the moment on Netflix,
Yeah.
and it's like there's a lot of violence and sex, and it was like everything you watched is like. I set her up with a Netflix account. We got her smart TV and stuff. Everything she watches is like violent.
Yeah,
and
but like, do you ever read
lots
like,
of riding.
Oh, but okay, right, but I'll give you this, right? Do you remember those books that used to be around in the 80s? The ones
Mills
from-
and Boot. She was it.
yeah,
Mills and Boot
that's what I'm
book.
saying. My mum was
I
the
do
same as
remember
well.
that. I do
yeah.
remember that growing
like
up.
Penny Vincennes, Riders, and like Danielle Steele, and like all these.
It's like this illustration of this like muscular
yeah,
man. Yeah.
exactly. Yeah, like you read like one page of them, and like it's literally porn. You're like, you know.
We'll put it down.
Yeah.
Ew.
That's why they have 50 Shades now, guys.
That's it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Ugh. Okay, let's read some of the tweets that we've got. We're going to stop giving out Brian's email address because nobody emails him.
Well, no, but somebody,
Nobody-
see, they're messaging the Twitter.
Oh, yeah, that's what it is. But you gave out your email address and didn't email you, though.
All right.
I'm just saying, like, you know. So when you know that bit where you used to go, letters, we get letters, we get lots. You don't get any
I
letters.
don't.
You
But
don't
like,
get
I
any
wanted
letters.
it in because it was a David Letterman reference.
And you would even spell your name.
But if
Like-
anybody out there does have any comments or whatever, I'm always getting us back on point, guys. Do tweet at the Filum Show, FILUM, on Twitter.
And Deirdre, speaking of at the Film Show on Twitter, we did receive a tweet. We received a
Yes.
tweet from Damien Phelan, Muchos Champ at Muchos Champs, saying, "Hi guys, watched the Monster Squad in Sky Cinema today. With remakes and expanded universes so hot right now. I thought this would be right for a remake or reimagine sequel. Be interested to hear your thoughts." Actually, that was going to happen, and Dee, I know you caught up with Rob Cohn before.
Yeah, that's right.
He did. I don't think he directed it, but he's one of the producers on the Monster
Yeah, I
Squad.
think
Fred
he was
Decker
a
directed it.
producer or an exec producer, but yeah.
Fred Decker, who actually co-wrote the new Predators movie with Shane Black. Like, I got to chat to him years and years ago when I was talking to James Gunn about bringing James Gunn over. Clang! Name drop. But I just messaged him telling him how much I loved the Monster Squad growing up.
Yeah.
And he was so lovely. He sent me this really lovely message
Really?
back. Yeah. It's one of my favourite films from growing up.
I've actually
You've
never,
never seen it, so we'll have to we will revisit that.
Yeah.
But there was talk of there being a
Yeah.
remake and a revisit, but it just never happened.
I never kind of came to part, but like, don't forget, like, I mean, Monster Squad itself was kind of a bit of a sort of Avengers
was,
of
of
horror
like
characters,
Goonies
like,
and Ghostbusters, and it bombed at the box office initially
Did.
when it first came out, but it is a
Maybe
cracking
Universal
film.
could go for that now that their monster universe is pretty much
In
collapsed
fairness,
in on itself.
That one's kind of gone fierce quiet, hasn't it? That
like
monster
Yeah.
universe.
it has died a death.
Isn't that happening now?
No, like-
Javier Bardem, Tom Cruise, Johnny Depp. Remember they had that photo call?
Yeah,
The
and like
lads
there was
who were
even, I think it was like THR had this thing where they said that the entire office block that was dedicated solely to this dark universe, it's all empty now.
Oh no,
Like, it's really
that's
bad, like-
bleak.
Yeah.
So like, eesh.
Oof. Okay, Deirdre, let's go into some movie news. Here, little dancer. Dance for us, Deirdre. Dance for us.
That sounds weird. That sounds weird. That sounds
I
weird.
didn't like that
No,
at
what?
all.
Just a little dance.
I know she does, but like, it sounds weird when you say dance for us, Deirdre. It's weird. Oh God, and I'll just stop talking.
No, I agree with you. Thank you, Brian.
She's defending Deirdre's honour, Brian.
I wasn't defending her honor. But
Defending her honour.
anyways,
Anyway. So Solo, a Star Wars story. Everybody probably knows this at this point, but I'll just give you a few figures. It is struggling at the box office. So it's not reaching the targets it should. Early estimates placed it somewhere in the region of 114 million in the US, and its take over the past 3 days. Over the first 3 days was 84 million, with a 4-day total of, I think the estimate was something like 103 million. Internationally, not much better. It made 65 million. And just to give you kind of a ballpark of how kind of crap this is, Rogue One's opening weekend was 134 million just domestic, 523 million overseas. So it's pretty much going to be the lowest opening for a Star Wars title to date. Incidentally, Ron Howard has been trying to keep like really optimistic about this. He's sharing all the tweets of everybody who's been saying, you know, about how great Solo, a Star Wars movie is. He's saying, everybody just go see it and decide it for yourself. And on the note of Ron Howard, see how I segued there? Here's Brian Lloyd chatting with Ron Howard.
I suppose the first question I wanted to ask was, obviously, you know, the fact that you were kind of coming into the film when a certain amount of the creative decisions have already been made. How do you kind of, I suppose, approach it and put your own kind of stamp on it? Or is it even that case? Like, this is just a case of getting it over the line? Or how does
Well,
it
I
work?
kind of thought it was more of a case of getting it over the line, but in fact, there was a real openness and a sort of request for that objectivity. And
Sure.
so the one thing I had to offer besides experience and excitement, you know, for the project, was that objectivity, and it led to a lot of ideas. And you know, it wound up being a really interesting creative, experiment, keeping bits of this, adding bits of that, redoing things, but you know, both that Phil and Chris had done or things that I had done, try them again another way, to try to maximize what everybody felt was a really good, exciting story.
Why we plugging Brian's Ron Howard interview?
Because Ron
Because
Howard.
it's cool.
Ron
It's Ron
Howard.
Howard.
Like,
Whatever.
Ron Howard's pretty cool.
Can we play a bit of my Jeff Goldblum interview and saying Mike Sheridan?
Actually, here, do you know what? I need to talk to you about that. How did you end up talking to Jeff Goldblum about Imelda May? But not even Imelda May. You're talking about jazz. You're obviously talking about jazz. How did you end up talking to Jeff Goldblum about jazz?
You know what?
Because that's my thing, okay? You can't rob my thing.
Very aggressive.
I was also going to say what I found really funny about your Jeff Goldblum interview, because I know the clip you're talking about, was because Brian was all worried about like name dropping the other week, because remember when you were talking about Emilia Clarke and how you'd said to Emilia Clarke that in your interview with John Krasinski you ended up cursing. When I saw Mike Sheridan, I thought you were being a bit name droppy, I have to say, because when he mentioned Imelda May, you were like, oh yeah, I saw her after the Conor McGregor documentary. You were
Conor
very
McGregor
kind
on
of
the brain that day because I got Chris Pratt to talk about training with John Kavanagh.
Yeah.
No, I didn't know that was going to be on camera. I genuinely didn't know that was going to be on camera. I'd literally just sat down. If you watch the clip, you see me sitting down, and that I've met Imelda May once in my life. And he started talking about Imelda May, just recorded a jazz album with her.
She lives up near where I live.
Yeah, and she's lovely.
Very cool.
And that was the one time I met her. My friend Colm knows our publicist, and they were like at the after party. She did the introduction for the movie. She sang the national anthem at the Conor McGregor Floyd Mayweather fight.
Yeah.
So it was just.
Oh sure, you're playing it down now, Mike. But with Jeff Goldblum, you're like, yeah, me and Imelda.
Me and Imelda are besties, we're pals. I just said how talented she was and how popular she was, Deirdre. That's all. I just wanted to steal Brian's thunder because he threw it to his Ron Howard interview. So I was like, I'll up your Ron Howard with my Jeff Goldblum.
All right.
Okay, Dee, so...
Segueing back to Solo,
it
looks like potential sequels very much up in the air at this
you know what?
point.
You know what the issue is? It cost $300 million to make. It's the most expensive Star Wars film ever made.
Yeah, because of all the reshoots. And actually, like looking at it, it doesn't even look expensive.
No.
It's so scaled down compared to every other Star Wars movie.
Yeah.
It's kind of like watching that Antonio Banderas one. What was it called? The 11th Warrior or something like
13th
that.
Warrior.
The 13th Warrior. Thanks.
Oh God,
it's
you remember John McTiernan movie? Do you remember
where
that?
did the money go? Where was it put?
That was like a notorious flop, wasn't it?
Yeah.
I remember that.
Yeah, that rollerball.
I'd say they probably spent a couple of $100 million with the initial directors, Phil Lord and Chris Miller.
Yeah, well, that's
and then Ron Howard probably had $100 million to shoot 80% of it. So that might explain it.
Yeah, no, I understand why. I'm just saying, like, it was just such a mess.
Did you go and see it?
Yeah.
Oh, you went to the premiere.
I was pleasantly surprised, actually. I was telling Brian about this. Like, it's just kind of a fun, good old-fashioned action adventure. Like, my main criticism of it would be that you can tell that they're just trying to get through the story. They're not, like, kind of, doing any of that character development or, like, funny moment kind of stuff. No, just get through the story. We just need to get from the start to the finish. But it was kind of fun and old school and, like, worth a watch. But, like, not...
300 million, like,
yeah.
Christ, like, that's...
Yeah. I mean, that's
huge bar to
and one of the reasons they were saying this, because they did it for Midday Minute this week. One of the reasons they were saying it's bombed as well, or like analysts believe it's bombed, is because there's been too many Star Wars movies too close together. But then you've Brian. But then the Avengers and then like that universe, those Marvel movies we use as an example to go, no, you can do it right.
Yeah, that's true.
I think like
didn't Marvel have like 3 releases or something last year?
Yeah, it was something crazy. No, I think the problem with this was that Avengers: Infinity War is still in cinemas. Deadpool 2 is still in cinemas. And now you're throwing this is on top of it as well. And then you're going to have Jurassic World week after next. So, like, it's completely sandwiched.
Yeah.
That sort of way. And there's, like, they're only allowing a week between these big, huge tentpoles, that sort of way. So it's the sort of thing of, like, these blockbuster movies typically tend to have legs on them, that sort of way. They'll last.
They have to, yeah.
And they have to.
Well, this has had an A, I think, exit rating from audiences, which is a really good sign for probably tripling its initial opening, but they don't expect it to turn a profit.
I wonder if it should have gone for like a December release, because
definitely,
that's how they've done it so far, and I mean that seems to be the right time to go to the Star Wars movies, so maybe they should have kind of.
You're a Star Wars fan. What do you think?
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, that's exactly what they should have done. They should have left this until the end of the year.
Are you disappointed you're not going to get to see another one? I'm most likely not going to get our Orlando movie, or maybe you might still see a Orlando movie.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah, I don't know. I'm not really that kind of upset about it, to be honest. Like, I mean, I think he did. I think Alden Ehrenreich did a great job. I think Ron Howard really deserves a medal for the work that he did on this.
He seems like an absolute gent.
He
is
so nice.
He's the nicest man.
He is the nicest man.
Richie Cunningham.
Yeah, he's just like it wasn't. Every time like I heard him talk, I was just like. I could hear him narrating this conversation in my head as I was doing it. Like, it was hilarious. But I'm not. No, I don't. I mean, like, as good as Alden Ehrenreich was,
You seem like you had a bit of a man crush on him when you were talking to him.
Yeah, Dave was shocked to see things we were flirting at each other. And I was like, I mean...
You're flattered you think you'd have a chance, like.
Yeah, exactly. Like,
well, it was nothing like you and Paul Rudd, where you two were both well into one another.
Oh yeah, in fairness, yeah. Well, that was just kind of like it. That was a connective moment.
I'm the only one sitting here who just.
You didn't.
No,
didn't
I thought he was. Like,
I hope I get to talk
backing
to him
away from a bad Tinder date.
I hope I get to talk to him for Ant-Man.
You're never allowed to talk to him again.
I know, but like, just,
no bueno.
No
bueno.
Come on.
No.
I'd love to see though if he actually remembers.
If he remembers, I just want to know if he remembers.
What about Paul Rudd now carries pepper spray with him to junkets on the off chance that
he loved it. He loved it. He loved it. He actually told me afterwards it was his favorite interview of the day. So how you like them apples?
Okay.
How you like them apples?
What else do you have for us, Deirdre?
Chris O'Dowd seems to be out of the live-action Christopher Robin movie. So this is kind of a weird one that isn't so much something that was announced as something that people just observed when the new trailer for Christopher Robin. So previously there was just like this kind of 90-second teaser trailer, and then over the weekend there was the full-length trailer, and we saw more footage than ever before. Previously we'd just seen like Ewan McGregor, who now plays Christopher Robin grown up, and Winnie the Pooh just for like a second, but now we're seeing Eeyore, Tigger, Piglet and all the gang, and people were watching it, listening to it like, hang on, that doesn't sound like Chris O'Dowd. That sounds like Jim Cummings, who would have voiced him in all the cartoon versions. So no official statement. Chris O'Dowd, Disney hasn't said anything, but it looks like, according to IMDb, that Jim Cummings is voicing both Pooh and Tigger. So it's just kind of a really weird one. According
to Wikipedia, it's Jim Cummings is listed as Winnie the Pooh and Tigger. Ewan McGregor as Christopher Robin, Haley Atwell. Brad Garrett from Everybody Loves Raymond, Toby Jones, Peter Capaldi, who's awesome. But yeah, it's strange that stuff like that happens. Maybe it was a scheduling thing, but they tried the voice thing and it just didn't.
I'd almost wonder if it was just like that. The voice of Tigger, like Jim Cummings doing Tigger, has become so iconic now, because I mean he's been doing it for years and years and years. And the same with him voicing Winnie the Pooh, that maybe when they tried Chris O'Dowd with the character, it just like kind of wasn't ringing true, and there was some kind of weird disconnection. Maybe, I don't know. Maybe.
What do we think of where Chris O'Dowd is career wise and where he could be career wise? Because he's an incredibly funny man.
Yeah.
Like I thought after Bridesmaids that he would have I interviewed him and Kristen Wiig for that, and I remember going, like, he's going to be hosting SNL in a year or two.
Yeah.
Like, you didn't have to be a certain level of guest to do that. Like, I mean, not that his career's stopped by any means. He's doing great work.
Not at all, yeah.
But, we put him in the Aaron Sorkin movie, Molly's Game. You know, he's in Girls. He did a season of Girls. Like, he's doing really good stuff. But
and the Sapphires as well was a really, really cool New Zealander comedy. I don't know. I think
it's a bit weird because he hasn't really gotten any kind of leading roles like he had with Bridesmaids, and like the kind of
the romantic lead.
And the IT Crowd as well was like such a massive series, and like Richard Ayoade is pretty much in everything now. When you look at British TV, he just seems to be on every program. So it's just kind of weird that. I don't know, like he's still working, but he doesn't seem to be it always seems to be in kind of supporting roles.
Has the like old kind of definition of a star of a movie star. Has that changed now? Because everybody does everything. Everybody does TV. And you said Richard Ayoade, you're talking about him like hosting the Crystal Maze. And
exactly.
He did that really bad Ben Stiller
The Watch
movie, The Watch, a few years ago with Jonah Hill. Like everybody kind of just does everything. People are fierce greedy nowadays. Like.
Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, I mean, I think, don't forget, like, Moon Boy as well was huge.
Moon Boy's really popular as well.
Yeah, so, like, I think it's the sort of thing that he's choosing things that he cares about, which is, to be honest, that's the best way.
Did anybody watch Moon Boy?
I didn't.
No. You're from outside the pale, producer Dave. Did you watch Moon Boy?
I certainly did.
Was it big down the country, was it?
What?
Was it big down the country?
I would have thought it wasn't massive.
Yeah.
But a lot of people liked it, though.
Yeah.
Like, you got a few seasons out of it.
Irish audiences.
Was that any good?
I thought it was very good,
right.
My favourite thing I've seen him in. I wouldn't be a massive fan of him. But it was great.
Yeah. There you go.
I did see him at the IFTAs one year, and I was with my friend who worked for the studio, and it was like, we're having like end of the night, we're just kind of talking to each other, and she was like, it was the end of the night, it was like 2 o'clock in the morning, so he was like locked, and he came over and he was like, we're ready, he's like, you take care of her. I was like, we're discussing whether or not we're going to go to Charlie's or Abbey Kebab. Yeah, he's a tall man.
I talked to his mum once.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, it was actually at the
Mrs. O'Dowd.
Mrs. O'Dowd, yeah. I was at
Mao O'Dowd.
the Sapphires, the premiere for the Sapphires, and like she kind of appeared behind me, and I was like, she was like, who are you waiting for? And I was like, I'm waiting for Chris O'Dowd. I have to get an interview with him. Oh, very good. That's my son. I was like, took the mic. I was like, really? And like,
tell us more. What was Chris like growing up?
Apparently a lazy git is what she said. Lazy git.
A lazy git. Yeah, it's worked out for him okay, to be fair.
He
like,
did all right.
yeah,
Yeah,
like
fairness, yeah. He did all right out of it.
When are you going to get treated for the ADD or whatever it is that you have, though? Seriously,
ADHD. I've had it all my life.
Have you?
Yeah.
Maybe gone to weed or something, like, you know. It's medicinal now. You can get away with it.
No, you can't.
I'm going to Amsterdam, so I'll just bring some back.
Are you really?
Yeah.
Don't do that, Deirdre.
Sorry.
You're going to get caught going through customs and you're going to be like, my friend Brian has a problem.
It'll go all Midnight Express on you. You don't want any of that, okay? You don't want any of that.
Deirdre's decent banged up abroad, just like, I was just trying to help my friend. Okay, what else you have for us, Dee?
So, you've made me really hyper now. This is not very sad news. Transformers 7 has had its release date cancelled. So, reminder why this is the 7th film is we've had 5 so far, the last night being the last one. And there's a Bumblebee movie which is coming out later this year. Even the release date for that, I think, keeps getting moved around and stuff. But apparently the 7th Transformers movie has been pulled from the release schedule altogether and effectively cancelled. Michael Bay has repeatedly said that he's no interest in Transformers. He's signed on to Netflix with a new project, that one with Ryan Reynolds. So that's going to be big, I think. And Transformers has seen diminishing returns in recent years. Anyway, the last night made 605 million, but you have to remember that's against a budget of 217 to 260 million. And the previous two, I think they both the the third and the fourth did over $1 billion. But I mean, I think even the fact that the last night made so much less, like that's 400 million less. It's just showing that people are kind of done with them. Exactly.
Well, the first two, Shia LaBeouf.
Yeah. And Megan Fox.
And then Megan Fox was like a superstar in the back of those. And the third one was like Jack Rayner, wasn't it?
No. The first three were
for sure,
Shia LaBeouf. And then they replaced Rosie Whittington.
She was in the third one.
Yeah, she was in the third.
The fourth one was Jack Rayner.
The fourth one was Jack Rayner and Mark Wahlberg.
And then he got the bullet for the fifth one, and it was just Mark Wahlberg, right?
Yeah.
I didn't see the last one. Well, from what I've heard from insider knowledge,
insider
scoop is that Bumblebee is great, and the version of Bumblebee, the guy directed Coraline. Travis Knight, who directed Coraline. Great film, background in animation. And Haley Steinfeld is leading it with John Cena, is that it's excellent. And I think they're doing some reshoots to add some action or something like that, according to like the industry presses and stuff. But I think he'll take it in a different direction. He's a very different director than Michael Bay. And that's
what it needs.
Yeah, exactly.
I think that's what it needs. It needs a new set of eyes on it.
Yeah, the franchise needs reinvigorating anyway. Like,
it's just getting to be so same old.
Yeah. I mean, like somebody. I remember. I think it was John Landis, and he was saying that like you could cut. That wasn't a name drop. That wasn't it. Don't look at me like that. That was not. Fine, it was a little bit of a name drop. Whatever. But the point anyway
it was like, I think it was John Landis. Might have been John Carpenter.
It was one of them. Actually, it was one of them.
They were saying.
I name dropped the least because I've met the least famous people.
To be fair, sorry, Brian. To be fair, these first interviews for entertainment.ie were Michelle Williams,
that was
Casey Affleck, and then Denzel Washington.
Yeah, so they were your
first interviews. Like,
yeah, that was pretty awesome.
That's pretty big. Like, that's pretty big.
Like, get a grip there. You're all, interview Denzel Washington on your first week. Get a grip.
Pick that name up off your toe there.
So anyways, John Landis was basically saying that like you could literally cut 5 minutes out of any Transformers movie, put it with another Transformers movie, and you wouldn't be able to tell the difference. Like,
oh yeah, he reuses shots and stuff.
Yeah, that's insane. Like he's known for that. Like that he literally just recycles stuff. So yeah, I think a new director with a new direction will just really kind of invigorate.
Well, definitely the fourth one I like, which is the one that, of course, made the most money. No, I think the second most money. But like, I couldn't even tell what was going on anymore. It was just explosion after explosion and robots punching one another. I couldn't even follow the second thing anymore.
They're too long as well. Michael Bay's movies are way too long.
They're way too long. They're so overindulgent.
So it's just like it's way too much for the senses. And I think, and I've said this before, when Michael Bay's best movies were made in the 90s, with Bruckheimer and Simpson, The Rock and Bad Boys, and you know, even to a certain extent, Armageddon has a bit of a laugh, but that's when he became that's when he became really indulgent. 13 Hours is his best film in a long, long time because he had a very specific. He's following a real life story in Benghazi, and John Krasinski, actually, your pal, is in it, and it's. I really liked it. I liked that. It was very Michael Bay in parts, but it was it suited the material. So him going back, I think, to do. Back to his roots, to do kind of an old school action movie.
Was pretty good.
It wasn't mad about Pain and Gain, but people were, I guess, right? But it's kind of seen as like kind of a tiny budget from Michael Bay or whatever. The Rock and Mark Wahlberg. Yeah. But I'm interested to see because with the writers of Deadpool, Ryan Reynolds and Michael Bay, I want to see that.
It'd be very cool. Yeah.
So hopefully somebody's there to rein them in. So that's it for movie news then this week, Dee. Yes. Okay, let's talk the revisit. Quite lazily stumbled upon this revisit this week. We were like. Nobody wanted to watch anything.
Yeah.
How many shows are we in? We're like 17 shows in, 16 shows in.
And now we're phoning it in.
You literally phoning it in, like.
Yeah.
But in fairness, it's also because we didn't get any special requests. So if you want to make any special requests, do tweet us at the Film Show.
Jesus. Sorry.
Yeah, tweet us at the Film Show.
I'm done hosting this show. I'm done. Like, you go host it, go.
Yeah, so the film was Speed. I love Speed. I think that Speed is a great movie. Look how I am selling Speed. No, right.
Selling Speed.
What I love, the selling point for me is not Keanu Reeves, right? It's Dennis Hopper. Like, Keanu Reeves is good in this. He is very buff in this. He is very much like 90s action.
You haven't thought about this at all. You're this is off the top of your head. You're talking about Speed.
I'm not. I'm genuinely. I think Dennis Hopper, outside of maybe True Romance, this is his best performance of the 90s, 100%. Because like literally,
how many other performances did he give in the 90s?
He did loads. He did this. He did True Romance. He did. Super Mario Brothers. He did. He did.
Bottom of the barrel.
To be fair, that
Waterworld. He was in Waterworld.
Oh, he's great in Waterworld.
Super Mario Brothers and Waterworld. To be fair, that Roxette tune from Waterworld. Anyway,
yeah.
Go on, keep winging it. Go.
No,
go.
So like literally the first time you see
people who downloaded and are watching for your expertise. I apologize on behalf of Brian. Go on.
The first time you see Dennis Hopper in this, he literally stabs a guy in the ear with a pencil, like literally. Like right in there. So the first time you actually see him, he's literally like killing somebody, and like he's got that weird look in his eyes. And it's like, right, Dennis Hopper is nuts in this, and I'm ready for this to continue. And he has like these brilliant one-liners in it, where he's like, the bit when he's got Jeff Daniels, he's got him held hostage, and like Keanu Reeves is about to shoot him, and he's like, just shoot him. He's like, oh, we've got all the balls in the world right here, man. When he's about to blow him up, that bit. And then there's another bit where he's like, what is it? What's that line where he says, like, poor people are crazy, I'm eccentric. Stuff like that. Like, it's all these, like,
it's a Graham Yost script, yeah.
Yeah, but
justified.
Very quotable.
Yeah.
But was completely rewritten by Joss Whedon.
Yeah, it's Graham Yost at the ending. He didn't get the ending at all.
Yeah.
Because he did. I think he did a commentary for it when it first came out. He was like, "Look, this is when it stopped being my movie."
Yeah.
And Jan de Bont. He was like the one of those 90s directors who was like directing blockbusters. What happened to Jan de Bont?
I don't know, because like
he's cinematographer first.
Yeah, he was a cinematographer.
Speed 2 is probably what happened to Jan de Bont.
Yeah, to be fair, but like he was a cinematographer for John McTiernan. He did like Die Hard. He did Hunt for Red October. So he had a good kind of command of, keeping a movie going, keeping the pacing of it going. A bit
like your review.
What?
Go on. Sorry.
Anyways. I think Speed, I think it's one of those films that and here's another thing as well that I actually thought was interesting about Speed. Speed was released 2 weeks before the OJ trial. And a lot of people, when they go back and watch this, right, they kind of, the scene where Keanu Reeves is driving the Bronco after the bus. And people kind of, and people compared it to the OJ when OJ was like running around in his Bronco. Because there's a shot in Speed where it's a helicopter following this car down the LA freeway or whatever you call it. And people were kind of comparing it to the OJ trial.
He's only directed 5 movies. Jan de Bont. That's Mental Speed, Twister. And actually, I went to the.
That was like a 90s staple.
It was,
wasn't
it?
Yeah. It was always on TV.
Such a big blockbuster in the 90s. And I actually went to Universal in Orlando, Universal World.
Yeah.
Whatever it's called.
Universal Studios.
Universal Studios. Sorry, brain fart. Been punching the head way too much. And they have the late great Bill Paxton and Helen Hunt doing like videos for the like attraction from like the 90s.
That's really
and they're
cool.
like, it's Bill Paxton's like, hey, I'm Bill Paxton. And it's like, this is awesome. It's amazing. Bill Paxton was so amazing. He was such a deadly actor, and Helen Hunt does it too. And we also directed Speed 2, Cruise Control. Oh, the Haunting with Liam Neeson, that remake.
Oh God, I remember that. That was one with Catherine Zeta-Jones.
Yeah, it was like one of the first 12 horror movies.
Yeah.
The last film he directed was 15 years ago. Lara Croft, The Cradle of Life. He's been DP in a load of stuff. Obviously, he's one of the great DPs. So can we see Jan de Bont coming back? Like
I think so. Yeah, I mean, like that kind of
He'll
like
direct something like Book Club.
Or like, like Rennie Harlan. Remember Rennie Harlan who did Die Hard 2 and then like he did...
Rennie Harlan's worked consistently in like really low rent.
That's what I'm saying, yeah.
That doesn't mean he can't direct, you know?
Yeah.
He can, he's just... Yeah, like he did like Highlander and stuff back in the day.
God, Highlander, I love that film. Highlander was so good.
What are you whispering?
I just was thinking of Highlander. I was like, yeah, Highlander. Had that Queen soundtrack.
There can be only one.
But yeah, Speed, I think it's one of these, I know it's kind of unfairly maligned as like, oh, it's Die Hard on a bus. You know,
No, it's not.
That's
It's
what I'm
totally
saying.
different.
I know, but it's the idea of like, taking something mundane.
I think most Irish people just think of the Father Ted episode.
Yeah, true, yeah, Speed 3.
You do, because you're from Cork, I'd say. They're not big down in Cork now, Father Ted.
Ireland, though.
Is Craggy Island not outside of Cork? Where's Craggy Island supposed to be?
Craggy Island's supposed to be off the coast of like Connemara.
Oh,
Yeah,
right,
that's
I
what I
Right?
thought, yeah.
don't know. That's a DePale, I don't know.
Not Dublin.
I'm an ignorant dub. I don't know.
Yeah, go on.
I actually rewatched Speed last night.
Go on,
as
Dee.
part of my research.
We can always rely on
You
Dee.
said you weren't going to do it. You said you weren't going to watch it.
Yeah, but then
why do I feel like a teacher?
I said to Ivan that this week's revisit was Speed, and he was like, "Oh, we have to watch it."
Why do I feel like a teacher? And you're like, you said you weren't going to do the homework either. What the hell, Brian?
Go on, Deirdre, take it away.
Okay, a few things I love about this. That opening sequence with the elevator.
Yes.
Brilliant. It's like so gripping, so exciting. Keanu Reeves' standard of acting in this movie, he definitely gets better.
Mr. Mystery Guest, please sign in.
It's like so dry and flat, but like going back and looking at it, it's really, really funny. Sandra Bullock's first major role.
Sure.
And she'd go on to like win an Oscar and everything.
Not
Jeff
for Speed.
Daniels, not for Speed.
Should have
no.
got it for Speed, though. I thought she was pretty good in it.
I thought she was great as well. Although Ivan said he found her like really like, I don't know, naggy American woman.
She was very much a sitcom character.
Yeah,
at the
she
time.
is,
Like
yeah.
Friends and stuff was usually time of taking out and plunked in a blockbuster.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
just it. She is kind of exactly that neurotic type. Yeah, in fairness. Jeff Daniels as the best friend, I think, was great. Love Dennis Hopper as the villain. I just think it's so quotable and so rewatchable. And I do think it's like just one of the quintessential action movies, to be honest. Like you look back at it and it's so over the top, but it's also so much fun. I mean, I think...
Simple.
It's so simple. I think that like what a lot of action movies nowadays do is that they get these like really kind of, and especially when you see like kind of the sequels to action movies, like where like say the Die Hard franchise has gone and stuff like that, is that they get too bogged down with plot details. They get too like serious in tone and stuff like that instead of just having a bit of crack with it. And yeah, I think that it's really, really great. And people saying that it's not an awesome action movie are crazy.
I think you're dead right. I think that's the beauty of
Yeah.
Speed and a lot of those type of movies. Like you say, the Die Hard analogy is the kind of obvious one. It's almost cliched. Like it's man trapped in building.
Like the movie that I always associate it with in my head is Crank, because of the whole, him having to keep his heart rate at a certain
it's
pace.
so high concept with a director who knows exactly what he's doing, that's paced really well with a tight script.
Yeah.
And I mean, like when I spoke to Keanu Reeves, and I kind of name checked. I name checked. I wasn't like, hang on, Brian. I didn't go. When I talked to, I think it was Keanu Reeves. Maybe.
Go on.
Maybe it was somebody else. I don't think he's overly proud of his acting in this one. Is my point. Because I was I mean, it's functional. You know what I mean in terms of what the movie is.
You don't need it to be anything more.
But Jan de Bont's a cinematographer. He's not somebody that's obviously worked with actors a lot, and some actors need. But look, the film works perfectly.
It worked. I think even his delivery in it does work. It's part of that fun element.
Because when I checked, like, I kind of name checked, like, obviously The Matrix, Point Break, and he name checked Constantine because he actually gives a really good performance in Constantine. as one of those kind of action, like action type movies that have kind of stood over him as an actor over the years.
Yeah, and people have kind of come back now and watched Constantine, you know, even though at the time I don't think
Francis Lawrence, a really strong director.
There you go.
Yeah, and looked gorgeous as well.
Yeah,
Constantine
it was his first movie as a director.
Yeah.
He directed a bunch of music videos and stuff before that. Like
you could see it, like you could see that he'd done a lot of music videos that he was used to making that really kind of visual palette with, you know, that kind of. But no, Speed, I like. It's okay. It is very kind of, you know, bang, 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 forward momentum the whole time. But like it works. Like I mean, it's in the same way. Like you compare this to Die Hard. Die Hard has moments where it lags.
I think that Die Hard takes quite a while to
get going.
At the start.
It's like 30 minutes before you see somebody get shot, and this literally he picks up like the opening scene is the elevator shaft, like you know that kind of, and like he's wearing the white shirt as well, and it's getting progressively dirtier throughout the film.
But you see that, and it's almost like the Speed effect for Die Hard Revengeance, which came out not too long after Speed, and which is like they constantly have to keep moving, and Simon Says, and kind of. You know, you have that interplay between the two characters, and you have to keep moving forward. We should do Die Hard Revengeance as a revisit. I think. Have you seen that one, Dave?
Yeah, like I said, I think I said last week, it's the best threequel I think I've ever seen. It's probably my favorite of the Die Hard franchise, to be honest.
You know what? I think I'd agree with you there as well. It was like 95, I think.
95, 96, yeah. And you as a New Yorker as well would be in on that. There you go.
John McClane was never the same after, was he? Like, I was like,
unfortunately.
And he made one with the Irish director as well, and it was the worst one.
Still the highest ever grossing movie that an Irish director has done. A Good Day to Die Hard.
Neil Jordan went Interview with a Vampire.
Yeah.
No, it didn't gross higher. I think that I can't remember how many billion it made, but
I didn't make billion. It made hundreds of millions, but like
maybe it was in the hundreds of millions field.
Yeah, it was like 300 or something. But like Neil Jordan, the Interview with a Vampire didn't do that well.
Interview with a Vampire did do that well.
It did all right, like, but it didn't.
No, it didn't do that great in the box office, because I remember the only film that was coming up close to beating A Good Day to Die Hard, and even close to beating, was making like half the amount of money, but that was Dracula Untold.
Oh yeah,
Gary Shore,
With Gary Shore,
That's mental, isn't it?
There you go.
So what's that? What was the last Die Hard? A Good Day to Die Hard.
Yeah. And Bruce Willis is talking about doing another one now, and it's like, leave it alone, Bruce.
Bruce Willis.
Also, he confuses me so much because a few years ago he was doing all these interviews and he was just so angry during them. He hated doing all that stuff, and it's like, Bruce Willis, if you hate acting so much, just retire. You know, you've given us all these classics.
He's got that Planet Hollywood money. He doesn't need to do this anymore.
You don't need any more money.
Planet Hollywood is closed.
No, well, he sold it, didn't he? I'm sure he made a lot of money out of it.
So it's Irish director John Moore, who's from Dundalk, and Behind Enemy Lines with Owen Wilson is actually a bit of crack.
Yeah, Gene Hackman,
yeah. But it's just really strong, silly B action movie, and he directed, I think, something for Sega, and got like a promo for Sega, and got that
PlayStation.
Off the back. Yeah, PlayStation. He was a DOP as well.
Yeah,
they were talking about Jan de Bont there, similarly, like. And just got this kind of action career off the back of it. Was being talked about to direct X-Men Last Stand.
That's right.
Before Brett Ratner came in to do it. that spit on Brett Ratner's on. It's layered. That's layered. He's wrong on
many layers.
Numerable levels, that man. Yeah, so it made... it cost $92 million to make and made $304 million worldwide.
There you go.
That's insane. That's a really interesting tidbit.
Yeah, it's kind of a weird little... fact or
come on, lads, up the game. It's up the game.
Yeah,
who do we see beating them? We need to get Frank Berry. We need to get Frank Berry on a Marvel Marvel movie
for sure.
I tell you what, I'd love to see Frank Berry do. Right, this is what I would love to see Frank Berry do. If he's listening to this, I hope he's listening to this. I would love to see him tackle. Right, wait for this now. The time, as in do like the old Irish mythology, that kind of thing. Like do like sort of Lord of the Rings, but like of Irish mythology, like Cuchulainn and stuff like that. Why hasn't there been a big budget adaptation of Cuchulainn?
Wasn't Leonardo DiCaprio talking about it for a while?
Yeah, talking about that for years, and nothing ever came of it. Yeah, and your man, that guy, that lad, his name who escapes me now, was apparently going to do it, and it never came to pass.
That lad whose name escapes me, just that.
He did that thing.
That lad was going to do it.
He did that film with Vinnie Jones and Michael Madsen, where they were playing members of the travelling community. There you go. Yeah. That's it.
Strength
the guy who directed that, Strength and Honor.
He's a Corkman, isn't he?
Yeah. That's right. There you go. See? All the Cork lads, they all know each other. Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, that is it for the show this week. At the Film Show, tweet us. I think we'll revisit the Monster Squad next week.
Yeah, for sure.
Sounds good.
You haven't seen
Never
it,
seen
Dee?
it, yeah.
You have seen it, Brian, haven't you?
I haven't seen it in years.
It's
I will watch it.
It's a Shane Black script. I think it was his first script. Obviously, we said directed by Fred Decker. And just like I loved it. I mean, I actually watched it not too long ago, and it's aged well.
Oh, that's
because
good,
it's
yeah.
Shane Black.
Yeah.
You know, the quality of the script is there, I think, and yeah, it's one of those you look back and you're like, why didn't it do well at the time? I think it kind of came too soon after the Goonies. So yeah, we'll revisit that next week. You've also got Fallen Kingdom, the new Jurassic Park next week. The embargo is lifted, and we will all hopefully have seen it. So yeah, we'll talk that on Monster Squad next week. Thanks for joining us. Like and subscribe. Tell your friends. Thank the producer Dave and Dave Regan, or is it O'Regan? O'Regan.
O'Regan.
Right.
And
All
Charlotte
Jesus,
Reed.
You were a bit you're a bit offended there. And Charlotte Reed for putting the show together as always. We'll chat to you next week.